All right, are humans really meant to eat meat? Man, I really hope so. I just got done eating a steak and it tasted damn good.
Nice.
It went down just fine. So I think there's a little hint there, but let's talk a little bit about that. Hey guys, I'm Dr. Shawn Baker. There are people out there, primarily plant-based advocates, that will say humans are not designed to eat meat. They are designed to be herbivores. We're supposed to graze like cows and giraffes and things like that, or perhaps, live in the trees and eat fruit and leaves like gorillas do. Is that really true? So let's talk about that. Let's get some of the facts out of the way and kind of let you guys make your decision. So first of all, there's a claim out there that humans are not physiologically built to eat meat. Now this is complete and utter nonsense. Humans have been eating meat in some form or fashion for 2.6 million years. This goes back all the way to the time before we were Homo sapien. We were perhaps Homo habilis, and then we went into Homo erectus, and then the Neanderthal, and convoluted path to where we got here. But certainly it is clear that we've been eating meat for a very, very long time as our species. We've never, ever at one point stopped eating meat. Studies by archaeologists in Israel recently looked at a number of interdisciplinary approaches to determine what humans ate. They looked at fossil records, they looked at radioisotope data, they looked at human energetics, they looked at all kinds of fields to come up with the conclusion that not only did we eat meat, but we ate a whole bunch of it, a heck of a lot of it, and we were nearly carnivorous for a long period of time. And this study was done in part by Mickey Ben-Dor and others. This little chart here gives a description of how our brain size evolved with our ability to acquire different types of meat. And then as you see later on, our brain started to shrink a little bit as we lost some of that bounty of fatty meat and adopted agriculture. As we evolved to get a bigger and bigger, more energetically intense brain, we had to make a trade-off. And so to do that, our guts shrank. So this is the so-called expensive tissue hypothesis that has been postulated first by Aiello and Wheeler back in I believe the 1980s, maybe 1990s. Anyway, clearly we're built differently than other primates. Things like a gorilla have a humongous, lower intestine. They are rear gut fermenters. They have giant colons. They have a giant cecum. Humans, by comparison, have a very, very small relative amount. Remember, a gorilla is going to eat something like 40 to 60 pounds of forage every day. Can you imagine eating 40 to 60 pounds of food? And they spend about 80% of their waking hours indeed chewing and digesting, and then very often eating their own poop because they can't fully extract nutrients from there, and they can get some vitamin B12 from what's called coprophagia, or eating their own poop. It sounds kind of gross, and I think it probably is. No thank you. Anyway, so we are very different than those animals, and we thrive on meat. Meat was pivotal in humans becoming the apex predators that we are today. Remember, no other animal has eaten sharks and cows and whales and giraffes and elephants and rhinos and lions, just like humans have. Humans have eaten if it walks, if it crawls, or if it flies, you can be sure a human has eaten it at some point, and no other animal can make that claim. So we are the apex predator of the earth. All right, second claim, which sometimes I see, is there's no real nutrition in meat. It's all like just empty, tasteless protein, and it's all coming from plants anyway, and you don't need it. There's nothing in meat. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, there are studies out there now showing that meat contains up to 50,000 That's 50,000 unique individual nutritional compounds, most of which we don't even know what to do yet. Some of the things we do know, certainly it contains vitamin B12 and it contains amino acids. And guess what? They're in the perfect ratio for what we need. Now, why would it be in the perfect ratio for what we need if we weren't supposed to eat it? That doesn't seem to make sense, does it? We also have essential vitamins, particularly the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Those are all clearly there. Many of the B vitamins are there. We have healthy saturated fats, monounsaturated fat, and even polyunsaturated fat comes in meat. Without these substances, the human body will just fall apart. But you saw some online guru or maybe even a physician telling you don't need to eat meat and meat is bad for you. That is utter, what's a nice word for this? It's utter BS, basically. Why is there so much fear-mongering around nutrition? Well, part of it has to do with the quality of the studies that have been utilized to make those claims. Mostly it's epidemiology, which is a very low quality for making claims about causality. But it's kind of like, more people drown in swimming pools in the summer and therefore summer causes drownings, right? That's not quite accurate. That's a relationship there. So we all have heard the comment about correlation does not equal causation. And often many of these studies will include meat that is really kind of highly processed with garbage. You get some of the stuff that's got all kinds of, sketchy ingredients in there, sugars and processed oils and soy and fillers and wheat. Are you really testing the meat, or are you testing all these other ingredients? But whole, unprocessed, fresh meat is clearly a health food. There was a meta-analysis done recently in the Journal of American College of Cardiology, which basically stated that saturated fats coming from meat, from dairy, from eggs, even from chocolate, are not inherently problematic. Remember, food is a matrix. It's a complex of many nutrients. Remember, I mentioned 50,000 different nutrients in meat, and these all make up what the effect of meat is, and it's not just saturated fat, which some people will claim is bad for us. So there's many good things in meat. There was a study out of Harvard University published just in 2021 looking at 2,029 people that underwent the so-called carnivore diet, and you can look at some of the results in the chart here. So basically, the short answer is almost everybody in that study got dramatically better. We saw a lot of people coming off medications, diabetics reversing diabetes, eating essentially nothing but meat. So clearly, that is a very important bit of information when it comes to whether or not meat is good or bad for you. It doesn't do you much good to look at junk food eaters, eat a little bit of meat and say, oh, it's the meat that's causing the problem, when it's probably the junk food. So which meats are you going to eat? If you feel like you're going to eat some meat here, hopefully you already are. Hopefully you know some of this, but if not, I'm here to help you out, guys. So meat is delicious. It's anti-inflammatory. It is evolutionary appropriate and filled with nutrients that are going to help you to thrive. So things like ruminant meats. So ruminant meats are things like beef, bison, venison, lamb, veal, goat, elk, antelope, something like that. If you can get it, go for it. Pork can be a good source of meat. Pork chops, pork belly, bacon, all those things taste wonderful. And even poultry, things like duck, goose, ostrich, and certain cuts of chicken are all fine. Those are great starting places. Just make sure that you have, particularly if you're on a low carb or a zero carb carnivore diet, to include enough fat in there. Fat is going to be very important. There's always a minimum you need, but sometimes you need even more. And these situations are when you do that. All right, in conclusion, guys, I hope this helps you get started on a meat-based diet. Let me know what your favorite meat is. Feel free to put it in the comments there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to eat plenty of meat, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.